Have you ever just been going about your day, which, based on what YouTube tells me about you losers, your day would come in the form of fawning over VTubers that if they ever stepped within your area of effect in real life, would instantly develop respiratory issues, symptoms close to acute radiation poisoning, and from just seeing you, if your physique can fully fit within their FOV, they would react with a face of palpable disgust. All your daily activities involve grinding gacha games like Arknight's Enfield or Wuthering Waves, or even, God forbid, Genshin Impact. Don't worry, we know you're only playing those games for the dopamine hit that is essentially gambling to acquire the only people in your life that won't leave you. If your daily activity involves playing Minecraft with heap inventory on, you're a little bitch. The same goes for if you're playing RimWorld and you didn't choose Randy Random on the hardest difficulty with commitment mode. But now that I've insulted at least one of you, have you ever been going about your day and then suddenly, like a dormant tumour, a memory from long ago hits you like a vice tightening around your balls? And you get stun-locked in that very moment because this memory contains someone you have not thought of in a while, like actual years. And the more you think about it, the more a wave of similar memories previously stored in the back of your mind just come rushing in. And that happened to me quite recently. It's actually happened quite a lot. But upon stumbling across some old GMod content and just remembering said person, it felt like I had rediscovered a lost chapter in my life. One where AAA games went buggy messes filled with microtransactions, where Halo was at the peak of its popularity, where AI slop hadn't even been conceived as a legible phrase, and the only short form content we had was unknowingly clicking on a link that directed you to live leak footage. God. Those were the days. But anyway, in today's entry of early onset dementia, we are going to be looking at a creator who you may remember from the early to mid 2010s and someone that was most recognised for their GMod content when it was at its peak in popularity, and that person is Miss Breezy, formerly known as Cool Dude, who if you look up now has vanished from YouTube. And all that was left in their wake was an archive of their previous videos, a drama which involved multiple big creators, a somewhat negative relationship with the platform where they cultivated most of their original audience, questions in regards to where they are now, and a legacy that is remembered by many. But before we get into that, who is Miss Breezy?
I've got a quick question for you actually. What does it mean when it says launch the train?
Miss Breezy would start their original YouTube channel in August of 2011 at around the age of 16. But as said, the channel wouldn't come under the name Miss Breezy just yet. The original name for the channel would be Cool Dude. And they didn't start immediately with the GMod content they would later be known for. But instead they started like many other YouTubers with Minecraft videos when Minecraft had just arrived on the internet and was exploding in popularity. But unlike other YouTubers, they wouldn't start with normal videos like Minecraft Let's Plays or even Hunger Games videos, because their first video on YouTube would be Minecraft Skits, or as they were called back then, Minecraft Machinima, which is something they would turn into a series called Newbies, and these videos, they were something to say the least.
Good afternoon, sir. What can I do you for?
I'm just here to pick up some armor.
If by armor you mean violent sex, then I'm the guy.
No, I just mean armor.
Oh.
Joe, look! It's like the vagina of Minecraft.
Ugly as shit, isn't it? I thought that maybe one of those crazy nether guys got a hold of you and burnt you like a hot dog and your dead corpse.
Jesus Christ, Joe, you have a nasty mind.
The internet really was a unmoderated place back then, but then again in that time frame we also had YouTube intros like this.
Hey baby, my name's Comedy Schultz Gamer.
But around that time, Cool Dude wasn't just doing Minecraft skits, they would also help make Minecraft parodies that were quite popular, such as the viral Minecraft music video, Like a Block.
Another zombie! Chase a pig!
Truly the Beethoven of their time. But even though YouTube and Minecraft content was in its infancy, Breezy would apparently see major success from this type of questionable content, mainly from the skits, song parodies, and Minecraft minigames content with friends, which also included a collaboration with an up-and-coming Minecraft YouTuber around that time, Sky Does Minecraft.
And we got a cool dude right here.
What's up?
And then we got Deadlocks. He's not a brony. He's just kind of sitting here.
With the attention they were getting, they would gain subscribers quite fast, reaching over 40,000 in April of 2012 and then 100,000 in November of the same year, which came with both a face reveal and a switch up of content, as in 2013 they would branch out their content to other games like Amnesia: The Dark Descent, SCP Containment Breach, and even vlogs. They were also more open about being a brony, something they were not necessarily hiding.
We're lost. We should go home.
Shut your fucking whore mouth, clit lips! If I didn't know where we were going, we wouldn't have gone in the first place!
This is also around the time that Miss Breezy started to introduce a character that would become synonymous with their channel, which was their My Little Pony OC that at the time didn't have a name but would later be identified as Breezy. Just to clarify, this does not mean I'm a brony just because I watched them as a child. I've never had any interest in My Little Pony, or putting figurines in jars and covering them with my own ectoplasm till the plastic slowly erodes away due to the acidic values of the liquid inside. Just had to clarify that. However, in 2014, the Minecraft skits became less and less, being replaced by skits they produced in other games and some they performed themselves, and just in general, Minecraft gameplay on the channel became scarce as they moved on to other games. This is also around the time where they would run into issues regarding monetization, as were a lot of creators at the time, primarily down to contracts they had signed with the now infamous Machinima, as a lot of creators signed with Machinima because around the late 2000s to early 2010s, it was basically impossible to monetize or even have ads run on your videos, but Machinima helped with that and was an early option for creators to make money on the platform. However, over time YouTube changed in a way that made it easier to get ads on your videos, and it was found out that Machinima was locking creators into lengthy contracts and taking a significant amount of their revenue with little to no benefits. In Miss Breezy's case, they saw their paychecks from Machinima decrease by almost half for no reason at all, and when creators began speaking out about their negative experiences with the organization, they were one of said voices, and they would be one of the many that left Machinima in late 2014. But in the future, this wouldn't be the only time they struggled with YouTube and monetization. Going back to Breezy's content though, they would start making videos around a certain game in late 2014, a game that was rising in popularity in the early 2010s and was blowing up on the YouTube platform, a game that would define their YouTube channel for the years to come, and a game they would be most remembered for. A game called Garry's Mod.
Make sure you're practicing safe Shrek in there! No!
Just teleport to me. I need to. Trigger warning for those with epilepsy. This is one of the worst maps ever made. What? Oh, God! Okay,
By 2015, the Minecraft content and content surrounding any other game for that matter would be quickly overshadowed by the presence of Garry's Mod videos on their channel. This became their main source of content and nobody was really complaining. Whether it was things like Prop Hunt or a PNG Sonic image chasing them through a maze, these videos were highly successful, not entirely just down to the premise of them, but also the personalities within them, which at the time was dubbed the Meme Team, who were the people you would regularly see in a Miss Breezy video. This involved Cycron, Pymations, and Zach Fuller. Now the GMod videos would mainly be the only thing uploaded for a while. The gold vein had not dried up yet. These videos were still doing very well no matter what the subject was, but whilst the content wasn't changing for the foreseeable future, Breezy was. In late 2015, in their own words, they would confront something they've been struggling with for a while, which resulted in them coming out as trans, transitioning from male to female. and she wouldn't outright say she was transitioning till 2016 with a video called My Transition, where I assume she disguises being trans behind the metaphor of being a bee and answers questions pertaining to changing into a bee.
Discrimination against bees. What is your experience with this? You know, I've noticed that a lot of people are tougher behind a keyboard. I get a lot of hate for becoming a bee, but generally when I'm out, you know, just in the hive doing my own thing, no one says shit. I mean, it's really easy to type nasty, hateful shit when you're just a bee behind a computer, but when you're out in the hive and you know that if you use that stinger on one thing, you're gonna die, they don't say shit.
However, before this video and years later, she wouldn't really outright talk about it. There would only be subtle references to it, like her friends in videos referring to her as she, and the eventual change of her YouTube channel from Cool Dude to Miss Breezy. And the reason why she never publicly talked about it, she would explain in a 2019 video titled From One to Another, where she basically says, and I quote, "The trans community is a goldmine for controversy, and she didn't want people to know because she didn't want to make a big deal about it."
The trans community is a gold mine for controversy. Everyone's got an opinion about it and nobody's gonna change their mind. It's like politics over Thanksgiving dinner, which is no surprise why I haven't talked about it since, well, really ever. 99.999% of the people see me as female. I'm treated 100% like a female. No different. Because no one knows. No one has to fucking know. And that's one of the reasons I never wanted to talk about it. Because, like, why the fuck would I want to be like, oh, this is what I am, when I get to live peacefully without anyone giving a shit?
But even with this new development, the GMod content kept rolling out with little to no problems. Well, until we got to 2017.
Thank you guys so much for being part of my history. Thank you guys so much for being with this channel for as long as you have, and doing everything that you had done for it, and taking me all the places that you did.
Around 2017, YouTube saw its own 2008 financial crash. Had its own Hiroshima, if you will, or to put it kindly, shat itself. This period was known as the YouTube adpocalypse, where essentially advertisers started pulling their ads from YouTube because a lot of their ads were being placed on videos that were deemed as extreme, or just in general, a lot of advertisers thought it was a bad idea that their brand would appear on a video that is basically live leak footage. And with this, it led to YouTube going completely balls to the wall, and if you even uttered anything close to a curse word, your video would be deemed as not suitable for advertisers, and it would either get demonetized or get the yellow checkmark where you would get significantly less views and ads, and you would essentially be told to go fuck yourself because you said a swear word. In the current day, this has eased up a lot. You can get away with a lot more now, but some are still cautious and regularly censor themselves just in case we face another adpocalypse. But around the time the adpocalypse first started, a lot of YouTubers had to actually give up on YouTube because it was no longer sustainable, and Bree was not immune from this, especially since her content was the way it was, often being heavily unfiltered. She would see a heavy blow to both viewership and monetization, which would result in her regularly advertising her Patreon where fans could directly support her. And it also led to uploads becoming sporadic, with the adpocalypse also affecting their motivation to upload. This would continue all the way up till 2018, where they would upload every now and again, but they would eventually make a video called Goodbye Fam, saying she was giving up on YouTube full time, as in their own words, YouTube was more about clickbait now and she couldn't upload the content she wanted without it getting low views or demonetized because of the YouTube changes, and it didn't help that they were constantly moving around due to housing issues.
You know, your usual, I'm quitting clickbait, like I'm literally done. I'm done with making the content that I have been making, and I might be perpetually done. I don't know. I'm taking the obligation of this is my job and I'm lifting it off my shoulders and I'm getting rid of it. My old GMod videos, you can see how much fun we're having. I can't do that anymore. I can't do that, or it literally will hurt my channel because it's inappropriate. I'm tired of investing so much work into genuinely good videos that will get shit views and will perform terribly because they weren't clickbait.
And also around this time, her relationship with Zychron had come to an end, which I don't think a lot of people knew they were dating. I didn't when I was watching their content. They had been dating since 2015, and apparently they only began developing feelings for each other after Bree wrote a fanfiction involving their My Little Pony OCs. Yeah, You know, it's not on the same levels as Romeo and Juliet and kind of sounds like something straight out of a 2013 YouTuber fanfiction, but each to their own, I guess.
Now, she wrote this story using the ponies that we use in our GMod videos, the Breezy and the Bing pony OCs or whatever. And of course, it was a little romance story about the character Bing going out and trying to find the perfect present for Breezy for Christmas and shit like that. It was around that time that those feelings kind of started to creep in.
Now, they would break up around 2018 due to complications in the relationship, and even after they broke up, they would stay friends, occasionally showing up on each of his channels, but this would stop when Zycran also seemingly gave up on YouTube, and he focused more on his voice acting career, where he was recently a voice in Poppy's Playtime. Now, Bree going past 2020 would come back to YouTube every now and again with a few uploads, but she wasn't consistent because, once again, this wasn't her full-time job anymore, and she was doing other things in her life like studying in college and on the side editing videos for another YouTuber, that being Papameat. But after doing YouTube for a full decade, she would move on from it as a whole, because for her it wasn't the same YouTube she previously fell in love with. It was a completely different landscape and it was no longer a priority for her, it was more something she put on the back burner, occasionally coming back to. And that's probably where it would have stayed for the years to come. Well, if there wasn't a controversy that came up and led to that channel vanishing from the internet.
I'm not really afraid of retaliation. If the meat crew wants to send their fucking army, they're more than welcome. They can come destroy me. They can come pound my little bussy. I don't care. My brussy, my brie, my brussy.
Just for clarification, I had to nibble videos from other creators for this section because there is no archive of this stream at all, or at least from what I could find, but that's just a little heads up. So around the start of 2024, Bree would once again return to her YouTube channel and start a live stream, which was something that wasn't out of the ordinary for her. She had a tendency to stream every now and again out of the blue. But this stream was a bit different because the title of it was I Got Fired from Papameat. Now for context, Papameat is the alt channel for the well-known MeatCanyon where he uploads commentary videos on a range of topics. And Breezy was a full-time member of the editing team from August to December.
I was an editor from like August to the start of December. So,
but of course, as it said in the title of the stream, she was let go from the role and was now basically jobless. And in the stream, she basically airs her grievances about being fired and her personal experience with Papameat, presenting it as some sort of therapy or venting session of sorts.
Again, I don't know how much detail I should go into, but I just want to talk about it because I can't really afford therapy. So y'all, we're doing a group therapy session where I'm the only one talking.
Now, it's probably not a good idea after you just got fired to go on a live stream and basically vent about your former employer, especially if they are a public figure, and doing so relatively unprepared because it seems like she didn't know what she wanted to achieve with this stream, because she goes back and forth between saying she doesn't want to burn bridges to saying she doesn't care about the backlash.
Not sure like if I want to try to burn bridges or this or that, because again, I'm not really afraid of retaliation. If the meat crew wants to send their fucking army, they're more than welcome. They can come destroy me. They can come pound my little bussy. I don't care. My brussy, my brie, my brussy.
But to summarize the events of this 1 hour stream, she basically says a lot of things were happening in her personal life around this time. First, on her birthday at a concert, her drink was ruined, leading to her being very sick, and it obviously took time for her to recover, and within that time, even though she said she was fine to edit, the team ultimately decided to give her video for that week to somebody else, which she did have a problem with.
That Sunday was my birthday, and I had gotten root at a concert that we had gone to for my birthday. So I had a really, really rough recovery from that. I'm supposed to be editing this wedding video. I had written up a document about weird weddings, and generally they would say like, hey, if you wrote the document, you'll also be editing the video because you know the source material better. And so I was really looking forward to it, and I got super prepared to edit this wedding video. And then last minute, on the day I'm recovering, they're like, hey, we're handing this video off to somebody else. I wasn't like, bah, 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 screw you, but I was just like, well, whatever video I'm editing next better not be stupid like the fucking Blueface video.
She also says around this time she had to deal with a death in her family, her childhood dog dying, sobriety issues, and she was still recovering from what happened to her at that concert.
Other not great stuff going on in the family. I think that a funeral was being held that week for one family member, which I didn't personally go to because I wasn't like that close to this person, but I had to wait on some stuff because I was waiting to do some things for my parents. Right after that same week, my childhood dog passed away. I don't know if any of you who remember any super old videos, if you remember Jazzy, she passed away that week right after the 13th of October. Some of it was like a sobriety issue. And I don't really want to go into details with it because it kind of came on from like really shitty things that happened. Even though I'm like coming back to earth from having been drugged, like it wasn't late still. Like I got it to them on time and everything.
Now she does admit she wasn't the best of employees. Some videos did get finished later than usual, but she had only ever missed one deadline, which she says is when all of these things were happening back to back. And she still stayed up all night to finish that video after it passed the deadline, and she notes that Papameat was understanding but still somewhat frustrated with that video being late.
And I'm not trying to say either that like I was a perfect employee, because I mean I obviously had a few faults, quite a few faults this past, like I want to say October, November. It was really perpetuated. You know, I would sleep in like really late, and so then they were getting videos really late. But I had only ever missed one deadline prior to being fired. And Thursday night, me and the head editor, we are literally up all night editing this video. Like I'm editing it from like noon on Wednesday all the way till 9 a.m. noon on Thursday all the way to 9 a.m. like Friday. And I'm like, dude, I need sleep. I'm literally sick because my immune system was like messed up from that. So I caught a cold that week. I remember that now. He comes to me and is like, hey, like, this is really disappointing that it's taking this long. And I try to explain the circumstances. And this is Papameat talking to me, a hunter. And he's like, I know, I'm just really frustrated that, you know, we set a due date. Like we gave you all of this stuff and it's not done. Like, I don't like, just communicate with us. Like, what could have we done to help? And I was like, I don't know. Like, this is all kind of developing this week. But they kind of sort of let it go at that point. But I stopped hearing from Hunter entirely.
Now at this point she says her relationship with Papameat changed. They no longer spoke on a personal level, and at this point she felt isolated from the team, and at this point she was also receiving less work than what she was usually used to, meaning she was now receiving less money.
I'm still only taking home probably like a 12th of the profits that they get from a video, and that's fine with me. I don't really give a shit. Just as long as I'm being paid to live comfortably, which I wasn't. I was still scraping by. I was initially promised a certain amount of money per month, and I was basically getting paid $1,000 less than that because they weren't assigning me enough like stuff.
She would then ask for more money because she was doing other things like the documents for the videos, but that Papameat said he couldn't do that. And she also says at some point within the stream that around that time she noticed a shift in his personality, like he developed an invincibility complex.
And I would get paid $8.50 a video, which is not a bad rate. I'm okay with that, but I'm like, hey, this is really showing now, like the quality of the work that I'm putting here. And I know a lot of it's the thumbnail and the, you know, clickbait title. But I'm still like, it's showing that your channel is going to grow. But I know how much they're making, and eventually I want to make more, at least from editing, if you're not going to pay me for documents. And he tries to pull like the whole like, oh, like, but I really can't afford it at the moment. And I'm like, I know this is bullshit. Like, I also saw this like personality shift in the recordings too. You know, this kind of weird invincibility complex that YouTubers start to get. And I've been in the industry for a very, very long time. Longer than these little babies have. All right, I have been around all the big names up until like 2017. So I know how these people are. And I can kind of see it when they start to do that sort of turn to the, wait a minute, I can do whatever I want. And that scares me. I hate that.
And then she notices that another video editor is added to the Discord server, and she says that this was essentially her replacement.
After I bring this up, I see they add another editor to the Discord. You know where this is going. It's young 20-something-year-olds comes in, and the videos aren't nearly up to like my level of quality, which I'm not trying to insult anybody for that. Like, if someone's still learning their editing skills and stuff, like, that's fine. But it just sucked. It just fucking sucked. Like, that was my replacement.
Around that time, she gets into a call with Papameat, who apparently had a tendency to call her when she was drunk, but Then she admits she was drunk a lot of times, but in the call she tells Papameat she wants less work and that she's having troubles with her PC, and after telling him this she says he ignored it, of which it eventually blue screens the day a video was due, meaning that a lot of the video was gone, and she says as a result of this she got an angry message from a person on the team because the work was not done, also adding they showed no empathy towards her.
For some reason, he has a knack for asking to call when I'm drunk. Or like when I was drunk. Well, I was kind of drunk often, but yeah. I had been doing okay pretty much to being sober at this point because I was trying to get back on the wagon. A day before this, I had a meeting with Papameat and told him also about my computer issues, which was again ignored. It also went into like the topic where I'm trying to say like, hey, pay me more because I need also money to fix my computer so I can continue doing this. Also was trying to be a little bit more responsible and say, hey, like next, after January, I'm going to try to go back to school. So let's not send me as much footage. And I want to do one video every 2 weeks instead of one video every week. Just so that they're not like, I'm not over promising and under delivering. Lo and behold, the night before, or no, not even the night before, 3 p.m. the day before they need it for an upload, my computer blue screens and wipes out 12 of those 18 polished minutes. So I'm back down to like 6 polished minutes of worth of footage, and I could not recover the rest. Basically, then I get an angry message from Nick, and he's just like, he's trying to guilt trip me for fucking days about my computer crashing. They're like, we gave you this footage before Thanksgiving. It's not done. This shouldn't be an issue at night now. I'm like, dude, it's out of my control in every conceivable way. My computer was a blue screen. And Nick was a guy I really enjoyed working with to like, holy crap, they have no empathy whatsoever, and suddenly I'm this super expendable person.
This then leads on to behaviour that she says was abusive and that they had started to comment on her work ethic.
I don't know why there was this sudden shift. I don't think that any of the events leading up to it warranted this treatment. And I would call it pretty... in ways it was abusive. My work ethic was not great. When I told my fiance that, she said she was furious because she said, you have stayed up like many nights. I have seen you edit for hours and hours. You've had put in 12-hour days all week.
And by the end, there was only radio silence from Papameat, which led her to believe she was fired, but adds that they did pay her for all the videos she didn't do and was supposed to work on, which she perceived as hush money.
I never heard anything from Papameat, so that was basically me getting fired. After I'm fired, they said, we're gonna pay you for like a few videos that you were supposed to edit that you can't now, which was kind of a large sum of money up front. And all I could think of was hush money. Like, they didn't even have me sign an NDA or anything. They just gave it to me and they're like, oh.
And she then adds she could bring up the messages to prove a lot of what she was saying, but she just doesn't at all for some reason, even after saying she would.
Yeah, no, a lot of these are text conversations. Let me see if I can pull up. I can access pretty much everything, unless they deleted anything that I can access it all.
But that is basically it. She then ends the stream where initially she received a lot of support from her community, but when this got out to a wider audience, a lot of people were critical of her, making points like 1, there was no evidence for anything she said, 2, this was a business setting and Papameat could not control everything happening in your life. And if this was a normal job, she would have been fired promptly without any money for the work she didn't finish. And 3, it was not a good look to immediately go on a live stream after being fired and say all of this once again without proof. These were the main points brought up when criticizing her. She also got a lot of backlash from the commentary community, specifically Turkey Tom.
Oh, I'm coming! Oh my god, I'm coming!
Turkey Tom mainly voiced a lot of the points I already mentioned. Breezy does eventually respond to a lot of the backlash in a video saying she had no malicious intent, she was just venting.
I know that I am guilty of being self-righteous, sometimes when it's arguments in internet comments or this and or that, but when it comes to like really having to sit down and analyze the situation from different perspectives, I have no problem with being honest about having fucked up or being in the wrong here. I don't want you guys to approach this thinking that I had any malicious intent or was really trying to like ruin anybody's career, because in the stream I did say I'm just ventilating. This is a stream being done in service of comments that I had received on YouTube and Instagram asking why I was let go.
But after all the backlash, she would apologize and then delete her whole channel, because in her own words, she was getting so much hate and she was too busy to deal with it. And she finishes off by saying she will never be coming back. But that was it. A channel that had existed for almost 2 decades with thousands of videos was just gone. all because she started a stream that in my opinion wasn't really necessary. But she would stick to her word, people would never see Miss Breezy ever again. Well, at least she would never be seen under that name, because a year later after this she would upload a new video to a previously inactive channel called Breehive, with the video being called You're Alive, which was a short video with a robotic voice saying she was still alive. She also kept people updated on her community tab saying 2024 was a challenging year, and one recently from a few months ago saying she's trying to finish up her degree but will return to this project at some point. And that is where the channel remains to this day, but on other platforms like Blue Sky, she'd say she is still working on videos, but there is no telling when she would return. However, most of her loyal fans are still awaiting said return.
About the ABCs, Jordan.
I threw up! Oh god, I would have thrown up!
So in conclusion, Miss Breezy was a YouTuber that entertained and was involved in a lot of people's childhoods, mine included. Even though once again it seems like it was a repressed memory till now. However, as time went on, the YouTube landscape changed, and not only was it now not as profitable for her, but she also fell out of love with it, leading them to put it on the back burner and then eventually delete everything without much of a second thought. It's unsure if she will fully return at some point. She does say she's working on videos, but then also says she's done with it for good, so it's definitely not certain. But only time can really tell. Maybe at some point in the future we will once again see the horse girl My Little Pony thing getting up to her usual shenanigans in GMod. Just maybe. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk about today. Don't forget to tell your parents you love them, because they probably don't love you.
Fatty, adopted fatty, fatty, no parents.
But that's all I had to say, and bye bye.